The foldable smartphone market is in its infancy, and tech companies are still trying to get a sense of what form factor might actually stick. As of now, the choices are limited, with big players like Samsung, Huawei and Motorola having settled on two form factors, foldable and flippable. However, Oppo has decided to challenge the existing status quo by developing a working prototype that offers not a foldable display, but rather a rollable one. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Sahil, you're watching the EJ Tech Show, and today I'm going to talk about my brief experience with the new Oppo X 2021 rollable phone. As always, if you end up liking this video, please do feel free to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future content. Now, being a concept device means that the Oppo X 2021 isn't quite ready for prime time. In fact, I'm only aware of a few specifications, which include a Snapdragon 865 processor and a 4000 mAh battery. But that being said, I'm still very excited to get my hands on something that could prove to be a viable alternative to foldables. The idea here is relatively straightforward. A conventional 6.7-inch smartphone transforms into a slightly bigger 7.4-inch tablet that offers extra screen real estate for gaming, reading, watching movies, and even for using the camera app. Unlike the Samsung Galaxy Fold 2 or Huawei Mate X2, the Oppo X 2021 doesn't have a foldable design, but instead offers a dynamic sliding frame as it extends and retracts smoothly with no hard folding involved. I think it goes without saying that the extendable screen feature is the best thing about this phone. Oppo has seamlessly combined the smartphone and tablet experience better than most foldable phones I've tested to date. The company also says that the phone is durable enough to withstand 100,000 expansions and retractions, which roughly translates into 3 years of heavy use. However, at this stage, it's hard to say if these figures will actually stand true in the real world. Anyway, a simple double click of the power button or a swipe up gesture will expand the screen, and another double click or swipe down retracts it. It's a pretty nifty trick, so naturally there's a lot going on inside the phone to make this possible. The actual sliding movement is powered by a pair of electric motors which push and pull the two halves of the body with even force. You can actually hear the motors making a loud noise as the phone scrolls. Meanwhile, the screen itself rolls around the left-hand side of the phone, curving around a 6.8mm axis. I was pleasantly surprised by how tough the screen felt, which is mainly thanks to the 2-in-1 plate found underneath. They basically slot together to support the display and prevent it from collapsing inward. Moving on to the rear panel, and you'll notice an angular line in between, which reveals the inner plate when the smartphone is expanded. There's also a triple camera setup at the back, which includes a 48-megapixel primary sensor and 2 TOF sensors for better depth. Here's a few camera samples taken with the rear camera. The display used over here is a plastic OLED one like you'll find on most foldable devices, but it looks really vibrant and supports both QHD+ resolution and a buttery smooth 120Hz high refresh rate. There is a slight crease on the left part of the display, but it's only visible under harsh lighting conditions. Otherwise, it's barely noticeable. More importantly, you can see the content on the display being adjusted on the go as the front panel resizes itself. You start with a roughly 19.5:9 display and end up with a nearly 4:3 aspect ratio screen. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that the Oppo X 2021 is a productivity powerhouse, but it nicely doubles up as a small tablet like an iPad mini. Despite a lot of positives, the Oppo X 2021 is still a work in progress, and there's always room for improvement. For starters, there's no selfie camera, and the volume buttons are missing as well for some reason. Even on a prototype device like this one, I expect these obvious features to exist. The phone is also both thick and bulky, mostly due to the dual electric motors. In fact, those motors eat into the battery life very quickly. More annoying is perhaps the fact that the power button used to activate the rolling mechanism is quite temperamental. Any accidental swipe on my part would cause the phone to unfurl unintentionally. There's also always the chance that dust particles or small debris could get stuck in the slight gap between the plates at the back. Lastly, there's the question of software. The X2021 concept is powered by Oppo's Color OS, and while the user interface has been tailored to handle the sliding form factor, it still feels very much first generation. Look, this phone represents one of the biggest advancements in rollable technology, even though it requires some more fine-tuning from Oppo's end. Also, I can't say for certain when or even if the handset will be launched commercially, but as far as proof of concept goes, Oppo may potentially have a game changer on its hands with the X2021. So in addition to the rollable phone, Oppo has also sent me 3 very fast chargers to try out. A 50-watt mini super VOOC charger, a 65-watt wireless air VOOC charger, and wait for it, a 125-watt flash charger which can charge a 4000 mAh battery up to 41% in 5 minutes and fully charge it in 20 minutes at the fastest rate. Meanwhile, the 65-watt wireless charger can fully charge a 4000 mAh battery in 30 minutes, and the 50-watt mini super VOOC charger does the job in exactly an hour. So some very fast charging tech over there, and also an equally impressive rollable phone from Oppo. Let me know what you guys think about all these devices in the comment section. I'll catch you guys in the next one, but don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future content.
Hello and welcome to the EJ Tech Show. I am Deepith and today I am taking a look at the new Samsung Galaxy A22 5G. Now I've already reviewed the 4G version of this phone, and if you want to watch that link is in the description below. As always, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the Editor G channel for more tech content. Now what's different between this and the 4G variant? What has changed from the Galaxy A22 4G to the 5G? Well, everything. Naming aside, this is pretty much a completely different phone. This packs the newer MediaTek Dimensity 700 chipset, a 6.6-inch screen, and a 48-megapixel triple rear camera setup. But does it stake a claim as the go-to 5G phone under 20,000 rupees? Let's find out. Now the Galaxy A22 5G has an all-plastic body. I'm a huge fan of the back color, and the matte finish means that it doesn't show fingerprints, which is amazing and makes my job shooting the phone a lot easier. There's no TPU case in the box, which would have been appreciated, and there's an infinity U or a teardrop camera cutout. A punch-hole design would have looked slightly more premium. The bezels around the display are quite noticeably large. The bottom bezel is expected and common, but the top one is pretty large too. The camera module is not very prominent and blends well into the back. At 203 grams, it's not exactly light, but it doesn't feel heavy to hold. One-handed use is not very easy because of the wide dimensions and the large screen, but One UI has the one-handed mode to help with that. Now this offers a 6.6-inch Full HD Plus IPS display with a 90Hz refresh rate. It's surprising that Samsung have decided to go with an LCD display at this price point, given that they make some of the best AMOLED displays in the business. For an LCD, the screen has good colors and decent blacks as well. It's quite sharp too, and reading text is not a problem. The 90Hz refresh rate is also quite smooth and keeps the experience feeling very fluent. The viewing angles could have been better, but at least color shift does not happen. The phone offers a triple rear camera setup, so that's a 48-megapixel primary, a 5-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 2-megapixel depth sensor. This offers the same 48-megapixel primary camera as the Galaxy A22 4G version, but it does not offer the OIS, which made that camera so compelling. The processing remains Samsung-like, where images are also automatically retouched for better colors and sharpness, but it does tend to over-smoothen the photos from time to time. One thing I do have to note is that the camera app is lightning fast. Quite noticeably so, more so than other phones I've used in this price range. The preview appearing as you click the photo is instantaneous and makes the device feel super fast. This is the Dimensity 700 chip at work, but more on that later. The 5-megapixel ultra-wide is a downgrade from the 8-megapixel sensor of the A22 4G. There's quite a bit of color shift from the main camera, but you can still get some decent looking landscape shots from this. This also shoots up to 2K video at 30 frames per second. The 8-megapixel front camera shoots decent shots in good light. It can struggle with the detail when light isn't abundantly available. There's a skin smoothing effect which is comical by default, but of course you can turn that off. The front camera also shoots up to 1080p video at 30 frames per second. MediaTek's Dimensity 700 SoC has proven to be very fast for the segment and offers great performance in the UI. Scrolling around in apps, changing settings and multitasking with opening different apps is all very smooth with no jitters or slowdowns. The gaming performance is also quite good, with Battlegrounds Mobile India performing very smoothly at HD settings and a high frame rate. I also played Call of Duty Mobile, which ran perfectly at medium settings at up to a high frame rate. Even after 20 odd minutes of gaming, the phone got a little warm as is expected, but it didn't get anywhere near hot. And of course, 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage in the base model in India is nice to see. The Galaxy A22 5G runs One UI 3.1 core based on the latest Android 11. One UI remains very polished and is a great experience. There is some preloaded bloatware, but most third-party apps can be completely uninstalled, so it isn't too big of a deal. Some first-party apps also do send push notifications, but these are also easily turned off. The phone supports 11 5G bands, which means that it should get great 5G support when that does launch in India and is quite future-proof. It uses a Type-C port for charging in data with USB 2.0 support, and there's also a 3.5mm headphone jack still here, which is fantastic. There's only a single bottom-firing speaker, which is fine in terms of quality and volume. Now, the side-mounted fingerprint scanner is blazing fast and is actually quite well placed for the thumb to naturally rest while holding the phone. There's also a full SIM tray that can support 2 SIMs and an SD card at the same time. The phone packs a 5000 mAh battery, which can very easily last you a full day, and depending on usage, even possibly a day and a half. With a full day's usage, I experienced around 6 hours of screen on time. Now, this does support up to 25-watt fast charging, but it only comes with a 15-watt charger in the box. The Samsung Galaxy A22 5G strengths are very clear. The MediaTek Dimensity 700 chipset is fast, there are no two ways about it, and it gets extensive 5G coverage with 11 bands. As India's 5G rollout gets closer, this is a great no-nonsense 5G phone that will get good signal and is fast enough for all your needs. It's not a gaming phone, but I can definitely recommend it as a phone to be used for gaming. The latest competitive games play very smoothly and it doesn't get too hot. I would have liked to see an AMOLED display instead of an LCD display in this phone as well, and it would have been fantastic if Samsung had included OIS in the main camera like they did with the 4G version of the Galaxy A22. But if you do want a fast phone with great 5G coverage, this is a good bet. The Galaxy A22 5G is priced at Rs 19,999 in India for the 6GB RAM and 128GB storage variant.
On August 11th this year, Samsung is expected to introduce a new range of foldable devices, likely the Galaxy Z Fold 3 and a redesigned Z Flip clamshell. With Samsung's history of innovation, let's go through the firm's journey with its foldable devices and everything we've seen since those first few concepts. It all started with the Samsung Galaxy Fold that was unveiled first back in March 2019. Despite the hype, the initial launch was delayed indefinitely after pre-release devices ran into trouble in the hands of reviewers. However, in a comeback only Samsung could have pulled off, they launched a stronger version of the original Galaxy Fold in September of the same year. With a 4.6-inch outer display and a massive 7.3-inch inner foldable display, it became one of the most coveted smartphones in the world despite a $2,000 price tag that translated to 1,64,999 rupees when it was brought to India. The Galaxy Fold packed in all the latest hardware available at the time: a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, 12GB RAM, and a set of triple rear cameras, all in addition to that revolutionary folding screen. Unfortunately, due to the troubled launch, public opinion seemed to see it mostly as a proof of concept device targeted at early adopters rather than something for mass market users. Still, it was a great lesson for Samsung, with competition from the likes of Xiaomi and Huawei threatening to establish their own foldable devices first. Not long after the September launch of the Galaxy Fold, Samsung announced a surprise product, the Galaxy Z Flip. Unlike the large fold that aimed at turning a smartphone into a tablet, the Z Flip was a clamshell flip phone, harking back to the days when phones weren't smart. This was also when Samsung introduced the foldable series as Galaxy Z, retroactively renaming the first device as the Galaxy Z Fold as well. The introduction of the Galaxy Z Flip indicated two main things. Samsung was serious about foldables, and it wanted to rule the foldable market at different price points. While still quite expensive at $1,380 or 1,09,999 rupees in India, it was far more accessible than the previous device and had the added benefit of looking like a fashion accessory, something that Samsung certainly tried to market it as. But it wasn't just all looks and no substance. The Z Flip came with a 6.7-inch foldable display that came protected with what Samsung called UTG or ultra thin glass. This made the folding screen far more durable than the original Galaxy Fold's all-plastic display and felt sturdier to the touch, something that was demonstrated quite well by some tech reviewers. Cut to August 2020, and after plenty of leaks and speculation, Samsung released the Galaxy Z Fold 2, the highly anticipated successor to the original Fold. With a larger 6.3-inch outer display and a larger 7.6-inch inner folding display, it was a true testament to Samsung's ability to improve. The new Z Fold 2 used the same stronger ultra-thin glass technology that was first seen on the Z Flip, but it also got a better hinge, with brushes that kept dust out of the complex folding mechanism. It also cemented Samsung's vision for the future when it came to large foldables, and with a slightly more accessible price tag of 1,49,999 rupees in India, solidified the firm's position in the foldable smartphone range. It's no surprise then that Samsung rules the global foldable market share, despite competition from the likes of Motorola, Huawei, and Xiaomi. With its dominance in the foldable smartphone segment, what features are you expecting on the new foldables? Let us know in the comments below.